I began as a small mind sprite.
What an asshole.
That was a lot of yelling. I don't know what anybody said, though.
Michael is doing an autograph signing.
Yeah.
There was a schedule conflict.
And he didn't pick you.
He doesn't want to see you anyway.
He would just derail. Actually, he doesn't derail. You derail. Never mind. He would probably stay on task.
I just realized I'm sitting between my two favorite people in the world.
Oh.
That aren't my daughter.
Oh, yeah, she's going to be mad.
She's out there somewhere. So, Heroes and Halfwits is a show about Dungeons and Dragons, which is a game we've played for a really long time. How long have you been playing D&D?
I've been playing it since I was about 11.
And you're still this bad?
He's still a bard.
He's really mad about the whole farting thing.
No, constantly. Which dice do I roll? What number do I add to it?
Have another drink.
It's always a 20-sided die.
I've started forgetting the names of people that I know very well. It's getting bad. I started playing when I was about 11, and then I played, off and on with my friends. I didn't play in earnest until you and Griffon and Frank and I started playing, and that was probably
2004.
11, 12 years ago.
Well, when I first met you, you were living with Gus, and then I moved in, and then we were playing then. That was my first experience with it.
Yeah.
Though I collected figurines long before.
Oh, that's right. We finally found a use for your figurine.
Oh, yeah.
Gus's figurine is one you've had since you were a wee little girl.
Well, yeah, since I was a teenager, that one. So that's the one we've been using for Gus, at least temporarily.
I think maybe the only thing lamer than playing D&D is just collecting D&D figurines.
Doing this
and
on
not
your shelves.
playing D&D.
I used to make out of Sculpey little places for them to hang out.
Didn't you have, am I remembering wrong? Did you have like a crystal dragon? Or
Oh, yeah, they have like a dragon that holds a bunch of crystals and jewels.
She still has it.
I've got a centaur.
You say that so excitedly.
I have a collection. Actually, the great thing about playing D&D and everything is that Geoff finally allowed me to take them out of the box in storage, and I can display them now. So I'm excited. New freedom.
Like I have any say over what she does.
Oh my God, I got made fun of so hard.
I'm
You can't make fun of me anymore.
Fun of you. But I can't stop you from doing anything. You're tougher than I am. Not like I would win in a fight. How about you, Frank? How long have you been playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Since I think about your age, 11.
Yeah. Who was the first person you played it with?
Wow.
Let me guess. Kevin.
No.
I have no idea. I just made up a name.
I didn't know Kevin back then.
I didn't know Frank when he was 11.
I was hoping the answer would be Gus, but I guess not. Never mind.
No.
But when did you guys first start playing together? Because you've played together a long time.
Yeah, we played in freshman year, sophomore year of high school, I think.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
sophomore year of high school, huh?
I was a hit with the ladies. Let me tell you.
Is that before or after math camp?
Yeah, I was. We would have to take breaks in the summer because I would go to math camp for 6 weeks every summer.
Yeah.
Did that help with your D&D, though?
And you're making fun of me. You have a fucking crystal dragon.
I'm only asking questions. I'm
I
not
did
making
math.
fun. Somebody has to do the math in the game because I'm just a figurine person.
You know, Gus, you were hit with at least one lady in high school because there was that girl that would stalk you. She would call you and play.
Do not say the name of the song. I do not want this becoming a thing.
Oh my God!
Oh, what is it?
Gus just ensured it's a thing now.
You know, he was stalked by a girl?
Yeah.
Really?
So yeah, it was this girl who we grew up on the border, and I think she lived
On
in
different sides of the border, like star-crossed lovers.
I think she was from Mexico.
Border crossed
She would
lovers.
call me and then play like this shitty dance music, and then sometimes she would hang up.
CNC music.
But then
Factory?
sometimes she would talk and ask what I was doing. I'd be like, what? I don't know. She's like, and she would be like, yeah, I saw you at the mall with your friends, and you went to this store and this store, and you did this. I was like, who the fuck are you? Like, this is really creepy.
So do you just live in fear of the phone ringing one day and you just pick it up and there's just soft music playing?
15 years later, you found out her name was Esther.
Did you ever find out who it was?
No, I never found out who it was.
Oh, man. Have you ever had to? When did it stop?
Probably around then. It didn't. I mean, it was only like 6 months, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Only 6 months.
Only 6
I call
Some
it.
people would love to have that amount of love thrown
To
at them.
be fair, though, that was the only action he got until he was like 22. So it was a very formidable.
Then I got to talk to a girl again. Yay! But yeah, Frank's actually the one who introduced me to D&D. We were, like you said, we were sophomores at the time, and
A shout out to Mr. Rensland, our Latin teacher. He's the one that gave me the first edition books, and then I introduced Gus to him.
he let me.
Mr. Rensland, are you in the audience by any chance?
He lives in Austin.
He's from Austin.
He lent me Aces Over the Pacific. Remember that old video game?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So some people these days in high school have sexy teachers doing sexy things with them. You guys had D&D teacher.
We did.
Teaching dead languages.
He was like one of those young, fairly new to teaching kind of guys, and so I guess he was very.
His spirit was still there. And
He was trying to be your pal and your teacher.
Oh, question for you. Actually, I have one. When you guys started with that first edition book, was that the edition at the time, or was that an older book at that point?
Was that what? I'm sorry?
Well, what edition were you actually? What was current at that moment?
What we did, so we grew up in a really small town with like no bookstore, no way to get access to the materials, and we didn't have a lot of friends, so we didn't have a lot of people to play with, and we didn't have very much money to buy anything. So what we had to do was we cobbled together based on whatever we could find at like. Anytime we would go up to San Antonio or Austin, we would go to used bookstores and just try to buy a mishmash of everything we could. So when we first started playing, we actually played very briefly with original Dungeons & Dragons, which was awful. I think there were only 4 classes in original D&D.
It was a little bit more than that, but yeah, it was. The rules are insanely complicated for first ed if you've never played it.
And then we went from Dungeons & Dragons to Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. And then we moved on to second edition, and we played probably second edition the most while we were in high school.
That was the current edition at the time. Right?
Yes, and that was current.
That's what I started with.
Yeah, so that's when we finally had like part-time jobs and a little bit of money, and we could.
And you blew it on
And we blew it on D&D.
Was that when you were working at the paper store?
Yeah, I was working at a pager repair store. Thanks. But it's like we would buy like one copy of the player's handbook.
Yes.
And it's like we would have to share it, and then like when we were done, it's like who gets to take it home?
Didn't anybody's parent work at an office with a fucking photocopy machine?
No. It was just like a small town. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
And then like some of our friends that we played with had really religious parents who, when they found out we were playing Dungeons & Dragons, were convinced we were worshiping the devil and would no longer let their friends hang out with us.
If the rules were really complicated, you might have been. I had no idea. You're just going through the motions.
So it was really hard to play Dungeons & Dragons when we were growing up.
Yeah, and for anyone who's like from the time period, we finally Eagle Pass actually got one bookstore. It was B. Dalton's bookseller.
It was Walden Books.
Was it? Oh,
It
wow.
didn't wait. One turned into the other at some point, I think.
But it was one of those, like, it's in the mall and it's a tiny bookstore. And so I remember well, for me at least, the most exciting find was when we actually got a copy of the Planescape manual. Oh, yeah. And got to travel in the planes in Dungeons & Dragons, and which you guys haven't done any of that yet. But yeah, to show you how exciting my social life was, like that made my weekend. For sure.
I loved that module because that came with a compact disc. And there was like a track list of like background music or ambient noise. It's like as the DM, it's like if you're walking through a city, it's like play track 27, and it's just like rustling and background noise. And I thought that was really cool at the time, and it's really sad now that I'm saying it out loud and thinking back about it. How excited I was about that.
What about you, Ryan? What was your introductory experience to D&D?
Well, one day you said we're going to do a D&D show, and then I showed up, and I've done 2 days now. It is kind of sad though. When I was a kid, I used to read a lot of stuff by Shadowrun books and BattleTech books, and those were people remember those. Those had role-playing games associated with them, and I had a lot of the resource books for both of them just because it was an interesting world. So I had like the player handbook for Shadowrun and never played a role-playing game of Shadowrun. Yes, I was a lonely child. Thank you.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. So we keep making jokes about like, oh, it was so antisocial, and I had to play D&D, but it is a very social game, and it does require some friends.
It's a very social game filled with very antisocial people. It's like
I think it requires people that are a little smart though, because it requires imagination and math.
Yeah, but like as far as like social interaction goes, I think it's like the lowest rung possible. It's like I need to see other people, but I need to see people who also hate seeing other people.
Isn't the lowest social rung of D&D role-playing LARPing?
Yeah. Well.
No, I don't know. That requires some real physical activity.
That is true.
You know who's gotten into LARPing like in a very serious manner? Our friend Adam Thompson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every
He's going to do it in the park. Actually, I really want to go with him.
No, you don't.
Except he got injured. He got stabbed by a rapier in the chest and now has to go to physical therapy.
There you go. Don't do that shit.
No, but it requires. It's physical.
Wait, so can we have a special episode where we actually go LARP instead?
I would love.
No.
Everyone agrees.
It sounds like it would do well.
Here, Griffon, why don't you have a drink and fall asleep?
So I'm thinking back when we first started playing, back in high school. Like I said, we had very few people we could play with, and some of whom their parents were extremely religious. So we met some guys who were a little older than us that we would play D&D with. I don't know if you remember. And
Did they take you in hand?
they were also in high school. It wasn't
Did they
like
teach you the ways of the DM?
It's like we were sophomores, they were seniors, and they were big losers too.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I remember I fucking hated those guys. But it's like we were forced to be friends with them because they're the only people I play D&D with, and I fucking hated them because one of them allowed my first D&D character ever to die. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
It was like I failed a saving. There was a fucking Remmerhaus.
That's right, yeah.
It was Mordak the Thief, my first D&D character ever. And he failed a saving throw, and all Pep had to do was throw me a fucking Stonebiter arrow. And he refused. And his character stood there and watched my character get devoured. And I remember like turning over my character sheet like, I'm dead. Like what the fuck am I going to do now? Like, I have nothing to do. I was supposed to be here for hours. So
You just sat there and we're just like in the corner.
He just quietly fumed.
Yep.
That guy, Pep, was just kind of a jerk to begin with, and he had this famous drow bounty hunter that he
Famous?
Like famous in his mind, I guess.
He's the scourge of Eagle Pass, Texas.
Yeah.
It's easy to be famous in D&D. You just write it on the character sheet. Famous.
Well, I should say notorious because at one point, this wasn't a session that Gus and I were at, but it became kind of...
You heard tale?
We heard tales of
The legend of Pep?
He somehow got a wish from a genie, and so his character.
Best panel ever.
It's Dungeons and Dragons. You all knew what you were getting into. Don't fucking laugh at us.
It's weird. He went home and it was like, guys, you'll never believe what happened between sessions. A genie gave me a wish.
To this day, there are middle schoolers in libraries at Eagle Pass that still tell tales of Pep.
I really want to hear the story now, though. What happened?
So he wished for he had like his followers and everything by that point. He was pretty high level. So he wished for a fortress that no one could find, that he could like do shit with. And so the DM, who's also kind of a jerk, goes, "Okay, you get your wish." And his character couldn't find the fortress. So somewhere on the multiverse, there's this badass fortress. No one can find
I was kind of hoping that you went somewhere like he fell down his own stairs and no one could find him to save him.
It's funny you said that, Gus, that you would play D&D with kids you didn't like. I hadn't thought about this in a long time, but maybe this is still the case. Maybe it's not. Maybe the world's changed. But I remember like being into comic books and D&D and science fiction and stuff when I was a kid. You were forced to hang out with people that liked the same things, but there was like a 50-50 chance you weren't going to like them, but you didn't have a choice. If you wanted to hang out with somebody that had similar interests, you had to hang out with these pricks you didn't like.
It's like the same thing when I used to play Magic all the time. I don't think I ever liked anybody I knew that played Magic.
That's so sad.
But it's like, this is the only other person with a Type 1 deck. I can't play anybody else.
So much of my childhood was getting into fights with people about like who would win in a fight between Juggernaut and Wonder Woman. People I absolutely do not like, but it's like I'm going to talk to him or a tree.
So
you could also maybe find some other interests that you appeal to, maybe a more broad.
Sports.
Yeah, okay.
So what we should have had a subtitle for this panel. Should have been like Heroes and Halfwits, aka the fucking dorkiest panel at RTX.
And you guys came to watch.
I will say, I ran into Andy Blanchard earlier, and he was telling me he was excited. He and Mika are doing a Yu-Gi-Oh panel.
Okay, the second panel at RTX. So what do you think so far, Ryan? You've played, we've recorded quite a bit, so like 2 sessions.
Maybe 11 hours of gameplay.
Yeah. No, it's actually a lot of fun. Still kind of getting the ins and outs of it, and Common feedback is apparently I'm derailing the story too much. But you know what? I feel like I'm being true to my character. I think
That should be your T-shirt.
clearly my character is a warlock. He loves knowledge. He has -2 intelligence. He's too dumb to understand knowledge. Samples!
I hate that I like his rationale.
Totally makes sense. I'm just happy that we're all able to play again, and part of why. So like we were in this vicious cycle where. To me, D&D is better than any video game I've ever played. Like D&D is the most fun I've ever had in my entire life that doesn't involve a vagina, right? And we used to get together and we would start these campaigns, and Frank would always DM, or sometimes our friend Adam, and we would get like 3 or 4 months in, maybe 6 months in, and then Gus would disappear and everything would fall apart. And we'd wait a year and we'd start over again, and then Gus would disappear and it would fall apart. So I'm happy that I found a way to force him to play D&D so that we can finally finish
For 3 or 4 months.
We could also maybe try to develop some resolution just to, on our own.
It's going to go forever and ever. That's my end goal.
We need the math guy.
I was having a conversation with Yvonne 2 days ago, and we were talking about D&D, and not about D&D like Yvonne and I talk about D&D, but we were talking about production schedules. And she was like, so it's a weekly show, and it goes for like 6 months, and then you'll do a new story or whatever it is. And I was like, no, it'll go weekly for 2 years, maybe 18 months, and then we'll do another story. And she was like, what the hell?
How long is this going to take, Frank?
You have a lot of work ahead of you.
Yeah. I mean, it'll probably take like 2 years if we're lucky enough to keep doing it.
I got you locked in for 2 years, asshole.
Sorry, Gus.
Don't get cancer and die on me.
And actually, if I could really like have my perfect world, we'd probably play for like 7 years.
Oh my God.
Do you need a ibuprofen?
Ryan, you really need to stop collecting samples. You're really derailing us.
I'm going to have so many. Well, I got...
Fair point.
Don't remember where we're at in the continuity of released episodes.
Channeling his character as we speak.
So one of my favorite all-time D&D memories was an old campaign I played. Years ago. Frank, you were involved with that. You were not DMing at the time, I don't think. But I decided I wanted to do something a little different. So I made a thief character, but I told everyone in the party I was a warrior. And only the DM knew I was really a thief. And at night, when everyone was asleep, I would pass notes to the DM. And I would steal stuff from everyone else in the party. And then I would plant it on each other to frame other party members. That is the closest I've ever seen a D&D party come to a physical fight. People were fucking... And it went on for months. I mean, I think we went from the start of the campaign, I think we were like level 7 or 8, before finally someone realized like what was going on and got the truth out of me.
Yeah, the note passing, the thing I found with the show is that it's, I think, a little bit too obvious, because then we know something's up. Right?
So what I do lots of times is I pass fake notes.
Okay.
Like we filmed one episode recently, and I passed Frank a note that just said, I'm going to roll a 20-sided die and tell you what number it is. And it's like sometimes it's just garbage. You gotta
Yeah.
have a lot of
You
noise
run like
to disrupt the signal.
50-50. I do when I pass my notes.
Interesting. I've never even passed a note. I'm gonna have to start passing.
You should pass notes, and like, and Michael even in that same session he passed a note, and all it said was, "You're doing a great job, Frank."
Aww. Oh, he's trying to get those like inspiration points.
Yeah, he's totally trying to work the inspiration dice.
Currying favor.
When we were when those guys were trying to figure out if I was the thief, I think before they figured it out, like around level 5 or so, someone had cast like a zone of truth or some spell to try to get me to say whether or not I was a thief, and I made the saving throw. So I was able to continue lying, and they were like, "Well, it's obviously not Gus. He was in a zone of truth, and he told us he was not a thief."
So, I don't know. Well, I won't. I guess I can't mention any specific names, but in that campaign, speaking of fistfights, the closest that I remember to actually getting to a physical altercation was at Gus's apartment that he was living in.
Oh, God.
Too. So you'll have to fill in the blanks in my memory, but for whatever reason, one of the players that we were playing with got like really, really drunk.
Justin.
So, I didn't say it.
I'm guessing. No, I don't have to be.
So and I don't remember what your character did, but it was something along the lines of like stealing from the party or something. And
It's a recurring theme.
yeah, and he actually tried to punch you in the face, and like we had to be like, hey, no, it's okay, calm down. And so he's like in a blind drunken rage, tries to punch Gus. I think he slammed his ham down on the table, and then just stormed off, and then wrapped his car around a tree.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's kind of how intense our games
Yeah,
are.
that's the most hardcore D&D thing I've ever heard.
I was really hoping he slipped on the dice as he was going for the punch.
Awesome.
Yeah, people get really attached to their characters, especially long time sessions. You play with these characters for months or years.
Yeah, and you have plans for them. They have a whole life ahead of them, and then they don't.
Well, that same player, his character, we had gotten to like level 15 or something at one point, and our DM at the time had we were fighting this really powerful devil worshipping wizard or whatever, and he cast
As you do.
as you do, and the wizard cast this spell called Mordenkainen's Disjunction, which in 3.5 rules basically strips all of your magic items of their magic potentially. We have to make saving throws for each of our magic items. So the drunk raging player, most of his gear just got stripped of magic, and he got so angry, like he hulked out in that moment and was like, "I quit!" and like stormed off, slammed. We were playing in the
Wrapped his car around the tree.
I mean, that's years of work and collecting.
Yeah,
That's
and
awful.
just and then all of our the jerk drow bounty hunter.
The legend.
Just for the record, his character was a jerk.
The first game that I played with them, I had a bard also, and his character made fun of me constantly, and slapped my character at some point too. So I have a very high affinity for bards because I feel like they're the underappreciated redheaded stepchildren.
Because they're useless.
But they are extremely useful if you play them right.
Wow, that not according to Geoff. That was the setup. When we were first talking about the show, Geoff was like, I'm going to make the most useless character. You're going to drag me through this thing.
Well, mission accomplished, Geoff. We're getting there. We're doing it.
That's probably what's happening.
I hope we get some resolution on that.
Oh, what? I wasn't listening.
On your character just disappearing for no reason.
Well, I had a reason. I was looking for
He
survivors.
does actually have a reason.
And then I was upset at being scorned, and I wanted some alone time. Don't worry about it. All will be made clear.
No,
shut up.
You are not doing that.
This is not a Q&A, it's an A.
We'll get to Q&A eventually. We just don't want to encourage everyone to start shouting at us out of the audience. And by eventually, I mean we should probably set up the microphones.
You guys want to do Q&A? All right.
Are there microphones out there? Do we need to get them set up?
I think next time we do this, next RTX, we'll probably just play a session. Yeah. We just didn't have time to get it together this year. There was a lot of other stuff.
Looks like there's one microphone over there, and I think there's one over here. So just line up behind them, run and shove and push.
Push as hard as you can.
Damn it, we should have made him roll for initiative.
I brought my dice back.
Frank and I talked about this.
Do you have a die?
I have.
Yeah?
Give me a 20-sided die.
I've done Q&As before, man.
It's Mike Cedar.
Get that big silver one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can see it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I have the big one here. I think it was just.
Oh, God. That'd be interesting.
What are you going to roll for? Are you going to roll left or right, or like? How about if we'll roll for the audience? If you get a critical fail, they can't ask their question. If you crit, you get to ask 2 questions.
Okay. All right. So how do we do this?
Just do it on the table. Yeah, roll on the table.
All right. Okay.
Wait. We got to let them know who's first. So we're going from over here, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna roll for you.
Okay.
If it's a 1, you cannot ask a question. If it's a 20, you can ask 2.
I have a high dex, so.
So minus
What's
2.
your charisma modifier?
That's what I said. It would be
6.
Oh!
Sorry.
It's a 1!
It's a 1.
D&D shirt.
Oh man, that's.
Don't worry.
Crazy time.
You can get in the back of the line. All right, over here, right side. We're gonna
Live by the dice, die by the dice.
Listen, man, it's the
rules.
It's the rules.
We're gonna roll for you now.
I'm sorry? Holy shit.
No, we're rolling.
Okay.
The dice has not yet spoken.
Go.
Thanks, Jeff.
There's an 8.
So, Jeff, you should probably look into Bigsby's hand. It'll make you way more useful. If anyone wants
Bigsby's
critical roll.
hand.
That's not a question.
No, I'm getting to it, Gus.
Roll a dice.
It's a 20.
Yes!
Thou should not tempt the gods of fate, Mr. Sorolla.
Just get to the question. I mean, it was funny at first. Now it's annoying.
All right, sorry. So, my question is for Griffon. I was wondering, when you came up with your character and then had to step away from it and let someone else play it, what was that like? Because that for me would be just... Actually, that happened to me recently where a doppelganger tried
No,
to
you
play my
asked
character.
you asked the question.
Okay.
Stop.
Actually,
was that
that's a
like?
good question. And can I answer this honestly? Do you mind? As far as the planning and all that?
I wasn't listening to any of that.
I will answer. So it wasn't originally meant to be my character. I was just helping get props and stuff together, and I definitely wanted to do one, and Geoff wanted a rotating part, and he said, well, you can come do the rotating character whenever. But in the process of setting up, I ended up rolling her, and between Frank and I, we kind of created her character, and then the flaw being split personality, bad memory, to help accommodate that, especially the bad memory part, so we don't have to, if you guys want to bring in a new person, a special guest, it doesn't have to be a conversation every time. Oh, what happened to Orma? You know, like, so that's how we sort of began, but I got a little bit attached.
She did.
And I consider myself Orma's baseline personality. I've declared that. Also, Orma is my great aunt's name.
It was. She never even met her. It was.
I met her as a baby. I'm actually going to go meet her and have a conversation
It
with her
was
soon.
initially conceived that every episode, every hour or so, Griffon would rotate out with another person, and it would just be a constantly rotating cast. In practice, that it doesn't work out. There's too much explanation and exposition going on there, and also Griffin's really funny.
Oh.
And so it's
well,
going to
the
be
story
a lot
would-
more Griffon heavy, but there will be occasionally people that roll.
And we found, we planned all these, having maps and things like that ready for what we thought we would get down in a certain amount of time. And it's really kind of unpredictable. And that's something we're trying to figure out. It's like, where to cut and where to start the new episode and that thing. So we're kind of learning, I suppose, the pacing of things still. So it's kind of hard to say, like, okay, at the beginning of this episode, now you change, because there may not be anything that triggers that. So.
Yeah.
All right, you got a 20, so you can ask a second question if you like.
Can I give her the question?
Yeah, you can give it back to her.
Yeah, give it there.
And now he's a hero.
A gentlemanly gesture.
That's the nicest thing I've seen anyone do all weekend. He rolled to assist.
So my question was, the people that have played D&D, is there any mechanics that changed from the previous edition and 5th edition that you weren't very fond of or that you really liked, like the skill points or something like that?
I've always liked THAC0, and I'm sad that D&D moved away from THAC0 after 2nd edition. I thought THAC0 was a great way to approach how to hit. What about
I am actually a fan of THAC0 also. But I did, my favorite to this point has been 3.5.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
I probably shouldn't say this, but I actually think 3.5 is far superior to Pathfinder even, and I know Pathfinder came later. I know, I'm terrible. But like, there's just something about the way that they set up the rules, and which are admittedly very complicated, but I feel like it adds to the role-playing element of D&D. I was not a fan of 4th Ed. I felt like it was too, I don't know, not really D&D. So I love 5th Ed that they actually brought it a little bit closer back to 3.5. Yeah.
Totally agree.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
So I think we're actually, this is going to be confusing, I think we're actually still on the left side now.
We
So
are. Oh,
Ryan's
feeling
going to roll
lucky?
for you.
Please, Ryan.
17. I tell you it's a good question, and you believe it.
So I've actually never played D&D before, and my question is, how do you recommend getting into a good D&D group?
Well, if you're looking for friends, I've been checking out Roll20, and I'm on their newsletter, like getting these things. And I've had a lot of people recommend it too. It's a great place if you don't have a group and it's hard to get that together, and it can be. You can go and find people who want to do that with you, and you meet them, and you can play online. And they have maps, and they've got even little icons and stuff that you can place, like characters and things like that. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
You do not have a microphone.
Apparently he doesn't need one. He's a lot of shit. Also, the D&D subreddit is a pretty good resource for finding like-minded people that are looking for groups.
And I've always found that game stores, I mean, like
Yeah.
here in Austin, if you go to like Dragon's Lair, like when I...
Is anybody from Austin here?
Wow.
There you go. So like all the people I said that I met that I hated, that I played Magic with, I met them all at Austin Books and Comics.
Yeah.
Over off of Lamar.
If you go to Dragon's Lair on a Saturday, it's like D&D porn. It's amazing.
Well, and they've got some really great like things for you to use, resources, great tables, and lots of cool maps and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not from Austin, I'm sure there's a game store.
Or just move here.
We don't need any more people.
Also, I feel like, you could just like enroll your friends into playing with you. Right?
Yeah, that's kind of what Frank did to us when you moved.
Yeah.
You moved over to Eagle Pass.
Yeah, we had Gus and I have another friend named Ruben, and Ruben is so not a typical geek or anything, but
He's a lawyer.
he's a lawyer, so yeah. But yeah, just tell him what you want to do, what you see is would be fun out of playing, and
He was a band nerd, not a nerd.
yeah, he's a band.
Also,
It's a different nerd subclass.
if you prefer a technical solution, there's also recently been a game released on Steam called Tabletop Simulator, which works with the Vive. And you can import your own maps and models and actually play D&D in a virtual space with actually really big, awesome stuff if you choose to. So if you've got a Vive, that's also something to consider.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, Frank, you want to roll for this next son of a
There you
bitch?
go. Roll through.
4.
Ooh, we squeaked by.
This is gonna be a bad question.
No, you're still up.
4 is the unlucky number in Korean culture.
How long did it take for you to create the world they're in, and do you create all the character sheets for the new characters you bring in?
Not for the player characters. I let the players create those character sheets. I basically will create character sheets for important NPCs or monsters. And as far as how long it took to create the world, I actually created a Jackalheart campaign years and years ago for Adam and the other group that we used to play with, and that took probably 3 months. So I had a lot of that to work with, but then I quickly realized as I was working on this one that it was going to be a generation or two later, and so a lot of stuff has changed, and so I had to in a lot of ways, I had to kind of create it all over again. But it took about, I don't know, 2 months or so.
And also, unfortunately for Frank, when I got this show, went through the process of getting the show greenlit, this was a while ago. Maybe we've been going on this for about 4 months, maybe longer.
I think it's since February.
It's a slow. Yeah, we started this process in February, when Frank and I started talking about it, and I knew it was gonna get made. Right, I wasn't worried about that. So Frank and I started talking about it. I thought it would be fun to do a sci-fi campaign, and so I had him build that world. And we put a lot of work into it, and a lot of world building, and I mean, he way more so than I, but I mean, you and I had a little bit more input in that than I had next to nothing in Jackalheart. And I was really excited about it. It was really fun. Season 2, by the way, is what that's going to be. And
2 years from now.
And then when I went to get the funding for it and to get the sets built and everything, I had to sit down in a room with Matt and Bernie and Ezra and Vaughn and talk about it. And I was explaining what the sci-fi thing was, and they looked at me and they're like, "There's no gnomes?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "What about a dwarf?" And I was like, "No, it's not. It's sci-fi." And they're like, "Yeah, but it's D&D. There's got to be like elves and shit, right?" And I was like, "No, we're gonna do sci-fi. We make red versus blue. It makes sense. It's within the spirit of the company. We do sci-fi stuff." And they go, "You should have like dragons and stuff." All right. So I had to call Frank up 10 minutes later and go, "Hey, scrap it. We got to start over again."
I'm really happy we switched to fantasy. It's more fun to make.
It was fun. But the thing we have for the sci-fi thing is awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually way more of a sci-fi fan now than I am a fantasy, and I was really jazzed about that. Yeah, we had to kind of shelve it for now, but I think it'll be amazing. And it's going to be based on the 5th ed rules, so I basically had to like figure out a way to convert 5th ed medieval fantasy over into 5th ed sci-fi.
Like techno wizards and shit.
Yeah, but so there's going to be like mech combat and stuff, and so I thought, oh, these rules actually could work really well for this. Or certain.
I'll give you one hint. We're all like 16. It's going to be great. We're all like snotty teenagers.
You said techno wizard, and someone had to like legitimately stifle a laugh over here. All right, where were we at? Which side were we on? Over here, I think?
I think it's Griffin's turn.
But it's, Griffin's going to roll for you?
This side?
Yeah.
10.
Ooh. That's an even middle of the road question, sir.
All right. So on the subject of sci-fi, have you guys ever played the Star Wars RPGs?
Frank and I have played a lot of D&D with various other friends who are not involved with Rooster Teeth, and the same party that I was stealing from, we decided one day that we wanted to play the Star Wars RPG. So we all bought the books and sat down and made characters. And about like halfway through the process, I thought, this game sucks. And we never got together even once. I think we all independently were like reading the rule book. We're like, no, let's just play D&D.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ouch.
Sorry. I did play a little bit of it with, I think it was Justin and Adam at some point before we were going to play the actual game, just to play it. And like my character's X-Wing got blown up and stuff, so yeah. That was
So
exciting.
you're a strolling X-Wing pilot.
Yeah.
Did you get to ride around on your droid?
No, I don't think I had a droid.
You didn't have a droid? What kind of backwater X-Wing pilot were you?
Probably pretty backwater since
Yeah.
I was just learning the rules.
tripping over
Like,
his
I just got out of the academy.
You just had 2 wings that didn't even like split.
Yeah.
You just,
What's an S-foil? What?
yeah.
All right, next question.
We're rolling for you. 12.
All
right, first of all, Gus, congratulations on kicking the shit out of Greg Miller and Screw Attack and Mario Kart.
I told them backstage after we were done that it was totally rope-a-dope. I know everything about Mario Party, and I was just playing dumb in the middle of the road. That way they'd get suckered into it.
That's true. We went through a period of maybe 8 months where we played Mario Party every Friday and Saturday night at your shitty little flooded apartment. Remember that?
Yeah. So anyway,
Mario
thank
Party
you.
1. Yeah.
My question is for Geoff.
Nope.
Can you give us a quick little bardic song just about all your greatness?
Yeah, you forgot to address him as Bojingles. You should try again.
Yeah. Those are hard. Those are hard to come up with on the spot.
Everyone hum a tune.
You sing a fucking song.
Improvise and make up a song right now.
Yeah.
Well, you do
They already
it
tried
in
to do that shit to me earlier when we were playing video games.
You do it in the game, but I think maybe it is easier if you're because right now it's not in the context.
In the context and the character. And,
Yeah. You got to put yourself in tiefling mode.
That's right. I really got to explore the whole tiefling thing. I haven't got a chance to really.
You need to find your character's roots.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff's going to disappoint you.
warned you.
Anxiety. Yeah. All right, I'm going to roll for you over here. 8.
Well, I guess it's not as good as the Geoff one. But on behalf of all artists and cosplayers, can we get a more in-depth kind of look at your guys' character? Because I know there's a whole bunch of people who really want to kind of get into doing art for you guys.
We were kind of hoping you guys would do that for us.
I mean, like hair color, eye color, like more kind of like what kind of build you are.
Yeah, you guys should release your character sheets. I posted all mine on Twitter.
So yeah, that's a good point. We actually filmed the character creation process. It was about 2.5 hours long.
Orma got cut off though, I think, because it was at the end.
It was real slow.
It's dry.
It's a lot of me and Michael going, so what?
But with the intention of releasing it as marketing material at some point. But we should probably figure out a way to put that out because there's probably some interesting backstory.
Well, even just the character sheets, I think, would be fine.
I felt like I kind of had to release mine because it would eventually make absolutely no sense why I was doing. Like, why would I yell out to Jennifer Love Hewitt? Make no sense if I didn't release the backstory.
You're right. Now it makes total sense.
Yes! Thank you.
We all feel informed.
That and your ferret that appeared out of nowhere.
It was in the backstory. You were there for the reading of the backstory.
It was in his character sheet. Yeah, I think you were scoffing.
I hate to say, I think my eyes glazed over, and I
It was
entered the
3
astral plane
paragraphs
briefly.
long. You used to play D&D all the time.
I think for somebody who's never played D&D before, you did a really good job on your character development.
Thank you very much.
So, to directly answer your question, we have all of that stuff filled out. We just need to do a better job about posting it. So, yeah, absolutely.
That was no 8 question.
No.
All right. You feeling lucky?
Maybe.
20. Boom.
I wish we had rolled this high in the game.
Wait, 1 second.
Yeah. Do you need a dice down there? Do you need to roll something?
So I forgot something. Hold on.
We'll wait for you.
No, we're just going to hang out here. You might want to roll some more.
There's the notice being passed.
Apologies to whoever rolled a 20 earlier, but I forgot that we had said if anybody rolls a 20, they get to sit up here and ask the question.
No pressure. 2 questions. What's your name, sir?
David.
Hey, David. It's nice to meet you. I'm Geoff.
Thanks. All right. So I think my first question was, what's the difference between chaotic neutral and chaotic stupid?
Well, one is an alliance.
Like, it's perfect fodder for D&D, in my opinion.
Are we gonna have a Brexit subplot?
The EU failed its
Saving throw?
There's going to be like a Nigel Farage like equivalent. It's like, all of you people suck so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We've also been using Pinterest a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Pinterest is wonderful for posting visuals of...
Yeah, and we can keep it secret, so then when Frank comes up with a story, and then he'll say, okay, we're going to need all this stuff in props, and then we've been kind of keeping track of imagery and things like that. So a lot of the city stuff will be kind of inspired by things out in the world now, just with a fantasy twist.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video that I found a while back that showed a waterspout off the coast of Florida, and like people are just standing like on the beach, like watching this ginormous black funnel of water and energy like rising up in the sky, and it was so insane that like that totally inspired me for the whole like shipwreck scene at the beginning, and I posted that on Pinterest and shared it. Yeah. So.
Who's rolling? Are you rolling, Griffin?
Yeah, it's Griffin's turn.
Sorry. Yeah, here we go. 4.
Barely.
My question's for Ryan. I wanted to know, are you just going to leave a string of conquests all the way across the land?
I mean, look, a gentleman doesn't tell, other than the DM and the dice and everybody at the table who hears it anyway. But I mean, if I can find another willing septuagenarian, sure.
Who is still like almost underage in equivalence.
I mean, compared to my character, yeah, it's universe robbing. Yeah.
All right. The 16. Go for it.
That's a really good question.
Pretty decent question.
As a longtime D&D player, one of the things my parties always argue about is if people are acting inside of their alignment. My question is, if you had to pick an alignment for yourself as a person, what would it be?
Lawful evil.
Oh, thanks. Fuck, I just got booze delivered to me. I had no idea that was a thing.
You know, that is actually kind of an interesting point because you try to like stay in character. Try to stay in character, and you try to go with your alignment, but it's vodka cranberry. So you try to do that with the game, and then sometimes like you'll be in comments or criticism like, oh, well, that's not exactly. But in real life, that's kind of true too, right? Like you think, oh, I'm a good person, but so many things you do.
That's right.
Well, I guess I would say that as a proud Hufflepuff.
So proud.
I would probably be lawful boring.
I think actually chaotic good is fairly in line with, or I'd like to, maybe not good, but try to be.
Who, you?
You don't think so?
No, go for it, sure, if that's what you think.
But chaotic for sure, because I don't like rules and authority too much.
Frank?
Or never mind. Should have seen the hotel room this morning.
Do you guys need some D&D like marriage mediation?
We're gonna work it out.
Yeah, here you go. There you go.
Okay. Hold on. I was right.
Notice how quickly he hit the dice.
Next episode, Orma destroys Bojangles with her wand.
I kind of felt bad that like Bojangles was getting all like mopey and hitting on Orma, but I just don't know that Orma like I love you.
That's
Griffon loves Geoff.
No. She actually apologized to me later. She's like, "You're making me feel like a real bad wife, but I don't think my character would be into your character." And I'm like, "I know. That's part of the fucking thing. That's fine.
As long as you don't get too upset."
He's like a loser. Yeah. No, he's. You're not supposed to like him.
So yeah, I would say I'm probably like if I'm being real, I'm probably more like a lawful good who secretly wants to be chaotic neutral.
So, being real for you. All right, you want to do the next question?
All right, Ryan. What's the three at the beginning? It's lawful, chaotic,
and neutral.
And
then you can be good, evil, or neutral. And then there's
you can be neutral.
Oh, I didn't know you could be neutral in the other way too. You could just be neutral.
You can totally play.
You can be. Yeah, it's called true neutral. Yeah.
True neutral. That sounds like they got a planet.
Save that for the space D&D.
Yeah, there we go. Neutral, lawful.
So for you,
lawful neutral.
Yeah, lawful.
You obey the law, but you don't have like ethical feelings about it.
What's that?
Is that what that means?
What's I think? Okay, how about maybe neutral? I don't know, because I got like, I got to go home and be a dad, and then you have to be like, oh, lawful good, and then the rest of your life you can be something else.
That's true. I think that the one thing D&D overlooks is that like your alignment in real life can be very dependent on context.
Fluid, yes.
And very fluid.
All right.
Thank you.
Rolling for you.
No worries.
8. I really want another 1.
So Ryan, how's that coconut bomb coming along?
Coconut bomb? Did I make a coconut bomb?
Was that why you're collecting samples?
It is now. I don't think I've come across a coconut yet, though. Or is that a sex thing? Is he talking about what happened with the lady? I don't know.
Yeah.
In the first episode, Geoff made a joke after you rolled your first initiative roll, and Ryan's in the corner making a coconut bomb.
Oh yeah, no. I was probably doing something far less productive. I was just tying my shoe, or if I at least came out of it with a bomb, that would have been useful. Instead, I was just like, what? Who? Oh, the fight's over? Cool. But I'll work on a coconut bomb if we come across one. We're not in a very healthy forest. I feel like any coconut bomb would not contain the explosive enough to really make a good detonation. All right. I'll have to roll for it.
You do. Someone found dragon powder.
Yeah, I got some of that.
Yeah, that's right. So.
And the other stuff that makes it burn more, blow up more. Alchemist something.
Alchemist fire and oil.
Yeah. All right. We got the makings of a pretty good
Just
idea
roll the fucking dice.
Thank you to the.
Don't derail the goddamn panel, too.
All right. Let's see if we can get a 20. A 1. I was a 10. All I saw was the 1. The cable was blocking it. I thought we'd nailed it. All right, 10. Go for it.
All right, Ryan, first of all hail the Mad King.
Thank
Second
you.
of all, and second of all, do you have any future plans for your ferret, like in a more useful role, or is it always just going to be your little buddy on your shoulder?
Well, I wish I'd gone further down the rabbit hole with the backstory on that. I really didn't decide what, or the ferret hole. I kind of like the idea of having it speak a language that no one understands, not deep, obviously, and it still retains some fragment of the omniscience of its source entity, but just no one can understand what the hell it's saying. It speaks something ridiculous like French. But until then, it's just kind of like it's literally his broken mind, so it doesn't really do a whole lot that makes any sense to anyone around it.
All right. Dankeschön.
I don't know how to say you're welcome in German. Bitteschön.
Bitte sehr. You don't want to do two both together. You can't do two shins.
Rolling for you.
13.
Ooh.
Okay. First off, I'd like to say, Ryan, I don't think you're off topic that much from what we see. It's all just what your character would do.
Thank you. I'm role playing.
Kiss ass.
That being said, how much of what you play ends up on like the cutting room floor? Like how often are you guys actually off topic?
How often are we derail? Well, Frank, you probably the best one to respond to that. How often do we derail you when we just talk over you and don't let you say anything?
All the time.
Yeah. How many? This is what I want to know. How many amazing things that you wrote and created, and we walked right by without actually noticing anything?
That used to be kind of the objective that we would have when we would play with Frank back in the day, is he would do all this world building, and then we would get into it and be like, obviously he wants us to go that way, so let's go the other way.
My favorite thing in the world that's D&D related is to try to derail Frank. I'm actually playing a very neutered version of how I like to play D&D because I recognize that the show has to come out and be entertaining. People say I don't get as much shit as Ryan does. He definitely gets it worse. Man, if I could play like I wanted to.
I know you are not nearly as bad as you normally are.
No, I know. If you can see him like kind of being frustrated by that a little bit.
You are a fucking nightmare.
That's why he always picks Bard.
You make Ryan look like Michael.
Season 2 is the season where no one does anything.
We all sit in a room and do our taxes.
The season where everybody just has to sit around and watch Geoff try to entertain himself for 2 hours.
I will say I think that the whole trait of you like trying to derail me extends to all other areas of life, not just.
You're saying you're constantly just messing up his shit.
Yeah, just all the time. No, well, actually, can I share a little story about you attempting to derail me?
Oh, yeah, I was actually about to bring that up too. One of the reasons is this talking about, are you talking about the Alamo Draft House? Is this that one? Okay. So one of the reasons that Geoff really wanted Frank to DM is that Frank is really great with rolling with the punches. And it's really necessary, especially for this group, I think, is to be able to change course.
You have to have a certain temperament.
And not be mad about it. And so one time we were all at the Alamo Draft House, and Frank had a date, so he's sitting up front with this girl. And
No.
I didn't actually know the girl before.
I'll tell the story
so
because you guys are going to fuck it up.
Yeah.
He'll tell the story. He'll tell the story.
Were you there for this?
I was there.
So Gus, I think Gus
You
and
guys
Griffon,
scared me.
Griffon, and Frank and I went to the Alamo Draft House to watch. I don't even know what it was.
It was the old location here downtown.
Yeah, the downtown one. And we're all sitting there, and Frank sees this girl that he thinks is cute, and she's sitting by herself. And he goes, "Should I go talk to her?"
He doesn't even say. He says, "I'll be right back."
Yeah, I'll be right back. He just takes off, and Gus and I look at Griffon and we go, "Here's the plan." We let him get about a minute into the conversation, and we go, "Griffon, jilted girlfriend, go."
Yeah, so I went down there, and I'm like, Frank, you told me you were visiting your sister.
She goes, "Who's this girl?" And Frank, what did you say?
Frank looks at her and goes, "It's over. The sex was bad." Without even skipping a beat.
And I actually got embarrassed. The people heard.
And Griffin is good. I mean, like, she was a theater major. She can act, and she did a pretty convincing job. And yeah, Frank didn't miss a fucking beat.
Yeah, he just gave me the most deadpan stare and did not even react in any way at all.
It was fucking amazing.
I think I got her number.
Yeah, she was like, "Ooh, look at him." That's funny. I want 20% of that number. I think I helped.
Yeah.
She wanted
4 and a 7.
She wanted the DM.
All right. 19, so close.
19.
My question is for Frank, and I was wondering, it's kind of similar to the last one, but as the only normal person up there, really, how does it
You really don't know me that well.
How does it feel to play with the people you play with rather than a normal group?
Listen, motherfucker. Frank is the least normal person up here. Trust me.
You just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if Frank shoves his finger up other people's asses, Geoff.
Do you really want to know?
Only if he's down with it.
I mean, you could smell my finger if you.
It's the new normal.
One time we were all hanging out at a barbecue place, and Gus ordered.
Oh my God! This fucking story.
That was with Ruben, actually. It was me and you and Frank and Ruben.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Ruben was there too. Yeah. Why don't I just dip my finger in his alcoholic beverage?
It was a beer.
Licked it, and I want to know how it tasted.
Let me tell the story correctly. It was a hot day. I ordered the biggest, coldest beer that they had. It comes in a frozen goblet. It's massive.
It was a green mesquite.
It's a green mesquite. They came, the server put it down in front of me. I said, "Thank you." As I turned to look at my drink and pick it up from across the table, Frank just goes. I was like, what the fuck did you just do? And you know it's very well established that I've got a germ thing. I'm like a freak about that. And I just pictured his filthy fucking fingernail dipped in my cold beer that I wanted to drink, and I wanted to flip the fucking table.
So what Gus did do, though, I remember this pretty well. Gus left. Yeah, man left. And it was just me and Frank and Ruben. And Frank's like, "What? I don't drink alcohol. I wanted to know what it tasted like."
If he had asked, I would have let him have some. He just fucking stuck his finger in my drink.
That was great.
All right.
So that's a microcosm of what it's like to play with them. Just
Wait. Here's the problem. The story from your perspective, is that what's going on here?
He is actually. Yeah.
Thank you
He's telling me how I felt.
Yeah.
All right. We're rolling for you.
7. Upside down 1.
I know you may have touched on the BattleTech stuff in the future, but I wasn't paying attention, so I was going to suggest, if we're going to do actual live Heroes and Halfwits for the next RTX, may I suggest we do it like arena style?
What do you mean we?
Excuse me, you do it.
Are you running this? How do you want us to run it? Like what?
Like an arena, like you guys are in the center, but
Like in the round?
somewhat of a raised center, raised bleachers.
Actually, it would be better if everyone else is raised. We need an amphitheater.
I think the problem is that if we did it like in a room like this, it would eat up too much seating.
Yeah.
Maybe if we found a specific venue. I don't
We'd have to
know.
rent out like a boxing arena or something.
Let's have it in Vegas.
Yeah, there you go.
We are not. That is not an announcement. There is no RTX Vegas. I regret saying it now.
Darn it.
Count it. Put it on social media.
I'm rolling for you.
I have a dice bag app. Can I roll a saving throw?
No.
No, because there's no save against a critical miss. Have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons? Jesus. You're getting a -2 on this roll.
Let's do this.
Five.
This question's for all the DMs or anyone who's ever DM'd at the table. What's your story of your first kill?
Have you ever DM'd?
I have DM'd. I DM'd when we were like in high school with our loser friends. I don't think I ever killed anybody.
To be determined.
No, I'm looking at Frank for verification. I don't think anybody ever died in that campaign.
I bet you.
I'm pretty sure you killed someone. I think you might have. Were you there when we fought the Jabberwocky?
Oh God, I hated that. Yes, I was there for that. I was not DMing that though. You DM'd that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Who did you?
Sharpest attack.
Yeah. Sorry. I think you probably killed the Jabberwocky. It was like a 3-hour battle.
No, I think he means like a
The
player
question is,
kill.
as in
Like,
DM, your
who's the
first kill, killing a character. Killing a character.
Oh.
Sharpest attack.
Rolls with the punches, just like we said.
Me killing her.
Super normal.
Yeah, very normal. No, I think from what I remember, I killed Ruben's character.
Oh yeah. That is true.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, no, now I remember. It's John's character. Remember?
You guys remember John, right?
Yeah. Anyway, he was like very impressionable, and the other players would sometimes like coerce or manipulate him into doing really dangerous things.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So they found a hole. It was like a magic trap. It's basically a hole that goes into oblivion. So he stuck someone took a spear, and they were like, all right, let's see what happens if we put the spear in there. And they put it in the hole, and it like just obliterated the end of the spear. So we pull it out, and all they have is like the broken handle. And someone, I forget if it was you or someone else, looked at John, and they go, hey, you should really step in that hole. And he's like, no, man, it's dangerous. Like, no, really, it'll be really cool, John. Just step in the hole. There's probably treasure on the other side. And he did. And his character was obliterated. So
Later, they dared that kid to eat a worm. They told him it was a gummy worm. And he fell for it.
There's tons of great John stories, but that's a whole panel unto itself.
A panel. From here on out, if you could only ask questions that are only relevant to two people who
Hashtag save John.
include people that none of us give a shit about.
All right, rolling for over here, right? Okay.
Fuck.
16.
So in one of the first live stream podcasts Gus did, he mentioned, or he and Bernie were talking about their dick size, and Gus mentioned that his friend Frank knows how long his dick is. Is this the same Frank?
Yeah, that's him.
Good memory.
Frank saw my dick when we were doing one-act play in high school. I was really tired. I was laying on the stage, and I guess I had really tight jeans on.
It was a play called "Hey Frank, check this out."
Two-man show.
So yeah, Frank saw my dick.
this is why I'm not a normal person.
You don't recover from something like that.
Years of therapy.
You were somewhat impressionable as well. I remember that same time, maybe it was that same day when we were doing one act. We found a dead bat on the stage, and Ruben and I were trying to convince you to touch it or pick it up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and I think I even knew that bats could have rabies. and yet part of me wanted to touch it and pick it up. Yeah.
What it taste like?
Chicken, actually.
All right, we're rolling for the next side?
Yeah. 3.
Ooh.
So my question is for Ryan.
Thank you.
Do you speak deep?
What's this talking about? I just asked where the bathroom was in Demon.
That was actually pretty cool.
Actually, that's a question. Some of these languages like deep that are in the D&D universe exclusively. Has anyone actually created that, like Klingon or like Elven in Lord of the Rings? Has anyone actually?
Yeah, I think there's Elven, Dwarven, but not. I don't know about deep.
Interesting.
I shall be the first.
I think you just created it.
Well, I wish, somebody eventually will actually speak deep back to me in the series. That'll be great. My little telepathic link, I'll find a squirrel that's like, yes, I actually do speak deep. I can help you in no way, but it was very pleasant of you to have this conversation with me.
All right, you want to roll for the next side?
Oh yeah, sorry. Three fours in a row. You said Korean, it's bad luck.
Four is bad luck.
And I've done it 3 times in a row. What does that say? If I do it 4 times, then it's like.
Yeah, we're just gonna get sucked into hell at that point.
So
Let's hope it doesn't happen.
Glad that happened on my roll.
Don't ever go to Korea.
Creating a character is a labor of love. So for those of you who have played D&D before, what is your favorite character you've ever created?
Mordak the Thief.
You mean warrior, right?
Yeah, warrior. No, I think my favorite character was the one that we talked about before that was a thief but convinced everyone else he was a warrior, then stole from everybody and nearly caused actual fights.
I created a character one time who was just a giant kiss ass. And his name was Red Roar Rellington.
I actually don't remember the name. I had a half elf. Can I tell you? I think I'm having the most fun with Orma so far. And I kind of, I'm having fun with it. I don't know. So far, because I don't really remember those other characters.
You don't remember sometimes hours of
No, but it's been several years since we played, and I don't remember being maybe having it. Maybe it's because it's in the show context and we're doing it for the first time in a long time. But I'm having a lot of fun so far, even though I've only been there for.
Your favorite's always your most current, right?
Except that I have to leave. But yeah.
Well, my favorite character name of one of your characters was Chocolate Shadow.
I forgot about Chocolate Shadow. She was pretty good.
Yeah, she was. What about you? I guess mine. I played a dual-wielding swordsman named the Coyote. And,
oh God, yeah.
Yeah, he was chaotic neutral in the truest sense of that, and so the rest of the party hated him. He was always going off and doing his own thing, kind of like Geoff, like Bojangles. But yeah, one time. One of our players in the party died, and so they were like, "Oh, we've got to preserve the body so we can take it to the priest and get him fixed up again." And so they were like, "We're going to freeze him." Like that was the game plan. So they cast a bunch of frost spells on him and tried to freeze him. But then they were like, "Well, the DM said, well, he's like a big character. He's heavy. You can't move him very easily." So my character was like, "Oh, well, all we have to do is just make him into smaller pieces for easier transport." So he took the pommel of his swords and started bashing the frozen character's head in. The party didn't like that at all.
The Coyote was your character that finally lived. That's the one. That's the same campaign where you had 4 that died right away, right?
Yeah.
And then the Coyote was the one that actually stuck.
Normal.
All right. It's over here, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm 16.
All right. First, as a fan of the Mad King, I'd just like to say,
4 times 4.
Galardo hiatus. Now, this is for all of you. Out of all the editions and everything that D&D has been over the years, what would you say is your favorite campaign? And remember, the right answer is the Forgotten Realms.
We didn't really play much Forgotten Realms stuff back in the day. I mean, we touched on it a little bit, but like I said, we were poor and saved up for the Planescape module. So I think the Planescape module does hold a special place in my heart, just because it kind of took D&D in a different way for me, as opposed to just like strictly high fantasy. That it opened up the idea of extraplanar travel and a city where portals to other planes could just be a regular door. You just have to have the right item on you to pass through it. And I thought that was a really cool idea.
Frank ran us through a campaign where we were essentially space pirates one time. That was a lot of fun. That one was the last campaign we did that Gus derailed. I stopped showing up.
If it makes you feel any better, I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, dude, we had a spaceship, and it was a pirate ship.
Actually, on the brink of something really cool.
Oh,
We're about to
we ended
get
up in
into
a
the
giant
city.
crystal city.
Yeah, I hated that one. Yeah, I remember that.
So much fun.
I think that first one we ever played was pretty fun, and I think because we actually had a chance to really develop everything. But I remember really enjoying at least the length of it. Maybe once we get there with this one too. Like it's nice when things get seasoned and you have more power and you've got more everything.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think first level is the toughest sometimes, just because you can't do much of anything. Yeah. I guess yeah. Like in high school, we played this Planescape campaign, and that was just so much fun. The whole weirdness of it too, because Sigel's this city that's shaped like a torus, and it's just out in infinite space. So that's probably one of my favorite ones. I'm also in a campaign right now that's kind of off and on, where it's a space campaign. So we actually combine the rules of BattleTech with 3.5 edition rules, and so that's been a lot of fun. I love mech combat. I know some people find it drudgery, but I really enjoy it. And the Spelljammer campaign was a lot of fun.
It was Spelljammer.
It was Spelljammer.
So I think the thing we have experienced though is that we've always been fans of kind of like doing it ourselves, and coming up with our own ideas as opposed to like pre-made modules and ready-made campaigns. So. It's a little
I think that early campaign that we played together, it was fantasy, and then at some point you tried to introduce a spaceship or something, or some like creature from like an alien or something, and the guest was just like, nope. And then like that was it. Like it just disappeared, and it went back to fantasy, and it didn't.
I got in my spaceship and took off.
Yeah, I have a whole set of space props that never got used that I cried myself to sleep with every night.
So, should we enter like a lightning round or something? I feel like we're getting pretty close on time.
We got about 15 minutes left.
All right.
You want to do that?
Lightning for 15?
All right, let's abandon the dice. That was a fun mechanic. All right. You guys sound so fucking quiet. All right,
we're over here.
Over here.
Hi, this is for everyone. What are your favorite aspects of playing D&D?
Pure creativity.
Quitting the campaign early.
You are only limited by your imagination.
Yeah, that's actually what I've had the most fun with so far, is with the situations in combat where I can try and just twist it a little bit instead of just going for a straight-up confrontation. Try to leverage the high charisma and high persuasion I have, and try and use trickery instead of actually doing straight combat.
Yeah.
I think the roleplay stuff is really fun, especially when you're trying to maintain your character and think about your character. And the fact that you do get attached to your character, that's pretty fun. It's like collaborative writing in the moment with your friends.
Absolutely, yeah, the interactive storytelling aspect of it. Also, as much as I bitch about it, I do really like it when players will come up with a really creative solution that I could never have imagined, and then like incorporate that into the game, and then I have to figure out how it's going to fit into the overall gameplay. So yeah.
Over there?
For everyone who doesn't know, episode 4 just got launched last night.
But
this question is for Frank. As the DM, how much of the journey have you been improvising because of all the gimmicks that, Ryan does?
Yeah, pretty much all of it.
I don't have that many gimmicks. Collected some samples, and I made somebody fall off a mountain. And convinced somebody I was the Fire Lord. That was a good one. Everybody was mad. They wanted to kill those guys, but I had 1 HP, and I figured, what the hell.
Hey, yeah. And then you also hooked up with a beautiful,
well, I mean, again,
66-year-old.
A gentleman doesn't always.
Right.
But yeah, I did.
All right. Next.
Okay, first off, for Ryan, 1, all hail the Mad King.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Nice crown.
Yeah, we get it.
2, you keep collecting samples.
I got
what they all say.
Lightning.
All right. Of whatever y'all have played, what would you say is your most memorable natural 20s and natural 1s? Like most interesting results.
Getting eaten by that Remmerhaus?
Yeah, I was actually going to say that because obviously I have much more limited depth of experience. But yeah, when Michael just nailed Geoff in the face during the test episode, that was pretty good.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't remember yesterday, let alone that.
Yeah, it's funny. In the moment, the ones in the 20s are so important, but I think, when you step back, I tend to forget them because it's more about like the bigger story. It's like as opposed to the individual moment.
Yeah.
When you play, I mean, you'll play for hours at a time. So, especially now since we're doing multiple episodes, so it is kind of hard to remember real specifics. Like when earlier you made that comment about something that was
the coconut bomb.
Yeah, like it's really hard to hold on to those details.
All right.
Remember when you rolled a 1 at the beginning of the panel and crushed that girl's dreams?
That was a good one. That's my favorite one.
All right, over here.
I was wondering what kind of experiences and how have you dealt with cheaters in your campaigns?
We had this at our old campaign we used to play with. We had this one guy who was. I don't remember how we met him or whose friend he was, but we started playing with him, and he was the worst min-maxer power player I've ever seen in my life. Where it's like he would try to find obscure classes and things that were obviously broken in the rules and then exploit them to his gain all the time.
Sounds awesome.
We just stopped inviting him to. We just stopped inviting him to play with us. I mean, that was it.
Yeah, I think just social pressure will make those players leave. There was another guy even before him that I think it was before you joined that campaign. He was just blatantly cheating on his experience points. So the DM actually looked at his character sheet one day and was like, I forget. It was like he added 5,000 extra experience points or something.
I was there for that. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's so dumb too because you're all kind of gaining roughly the same amount of XP.
Who gives a shit
anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand the idea of cheating in D&D. It's like a collaborative thing, right? It's not like you're winning. I don't know, or you're losing.
Well, and there's things that you can do to still have fun and cheat, like your character, really stealing from people and everything. Like there's things you can do that makes it part of the story that's more fun.
Right. Yeah.
All right, over there.
Hi. So I'm in a first-time D&D campaign, and thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you.
What a journey you're about to embark on.
Yeah. So we've had a few sessions, and I've been doing a mix between trying to plan out attacks and then just going off the cuff. And no matter what I do, my party members seem to get mad at me. So how do you find a good balance between when to plan something out and when to just spur of the moment go in guns blazing?
Spur of the moment.
I don't understand this concept of planning.
Just do whatever you want to do. Fuck them. What you do is, if the party doesn't like it, attack the biggest member of your party.
Or just cheat a bunch.
Well, I guess this would be a good time to point out that the Dungeon Master's Guide specifically does say at the beginning that the rules are not the rules are not in charge. You're in charge. So you get to tell the story and create the world that you want to. And yeah, I mean, if the players don't like it, they could just stop playing. But I mean, as long as you're doing your job of bringing creativity and just enough challenge to keep the players interested, then I think that's perfectly fine.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
My question is for everyone. If you could have anyone on as a special guest for either a rotating cast member like Orma or for someone on a season 2 that's either a celebrity or another RT cast member, who would you have?
Can I answer this one?
Go for it.
I would have Stephen Colbert.
It's a good one.
I think he's actually pretty funny.
And Vin Diesel.
We're actually gonna work that Vin Diesel thing out. We're gonna try. I would have Jon Favreau is a huge D&D fan, and I think he's a really creative dude. I bet he would be a lot of fun to play with. I'm more concerned about who not to play with. I would say anybody but Gavin Free.
I don't know. Those are great answers. Those answers.
Yeah, those win.
Obama.
Okay, so this is kind of similar to that question. For Achievement Hunter itself, about 6 months ago, you guys brought in Travis Willingham and Laura Bailey.
Yeah.
From Critical Role. Is there any plans?
Among other things.
Among other things, yes. Is there any plans to bring anyone from Critical Role into the game? as a special guest?
I mean, we're in our infancy here. We're still trying to find our legs. But yes, as the show expands and we get better at it and we kind of find our footing, we will start to look at subbing in more people from outside the company. I can't promise that those two will be involved, but we do like them very much. And
they know who we are.
It would be a super honor to get to play with them.
Okay, thank you. Vox Machina.
I think also the guys from the Adventure Zone would be.
Oh yeah, man! I'm dying to get Griffon McElroy to play a session as Ormo. Yeah. I don't know if you guys. Do you guys know about the Adventure Zone? Have you guys ever? It is, and I'm including Heroes and Halfwits when I says it is easily the best D&D related entertainment that's ever been created. And if you guys get a chance, it's a podcast on iTunes and whatever else. You guys should give it a listen. Those guys are way funnier than us. Really, really, really good, and a huge inspiration for Heroes and Halfwits.
This one's for Ryan. How long till Halfwits just gets sick of both Jingle's antics and turns them into a sample?
I'm not going to say it hasn't crossed my mind, but for the moment, he's still kind of useful. Every now and again, he inspires somebody. Not me yet. Hadn't thrown me a inspiration song or anything. Not even a whistle.
It's also your fucking boss. Not the metagame.
So we'll see.
In terms of your most preferred classes and races, basically, which class and race would you most prefer for yourself in D&D?
I don't see race, so that's a really difficult question.
Yeah, but okay.
I have managed to play a bard every single campaign I've ever played. I was actually. This was going to be the first one where I didn't play a bard, and then it happened anyway. Halfling. Also halfling. I will always play a halfling. Until this time.
I picked for this one. I picked Halfwork just because I was watching what everyone was doing, and I figured we needed more of a tank character that could be a little bit tough.
We had two paladins.
No, I know, but just like somebody who can run in and just bash things, like that would be useful. Now we need somebody with a bow. But I think like the only time can I do the opposite of that question? I tried to play a rogue once, and it was a disaster. So I just know I would never want to do that again because it's not like in my mental state to do it right. Like I just wasn't able to get it done in a convincing way.
The rules don't really allow for it, but I would love to at some point play Gnomish Death Knight.
Hey, you're in charge of the rules.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
I typically would have probably gone with more of a rogue type character, but I sort of came up with the backstory of my character first, and so the warlock made more sense. Just because the ferret and the familiar kind of tied in, and the source of power that was outside of the characters being. So yeah, if I were to play another fantasy era D&D, I'd probably maybe do a rogue.
Thanks.
Over there?
As being a player that's recently gotten into D&D and playing RPGs, has there been any instances where you've gotten frustrated at another player for their lack of experience in playing?
And when was it Michael and Ryan?
I think if that was going to happen, you would have seen it like episode 1 of Heroes and Halfwits. You know, just having to onboard Michael and Ryan, who've never played, had no concept, and even Geoff still to this day, when I have to remind him what die he has to roll and what he has to add to it. I think ultimately it is in your is to your benefit to be patient and to help people learn how to play. Then we don't have to find jerks to play with.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that, and this is sort of a tangent to that, but I think it applies. I imagine there's a lot of satisfaction in just introducing people to it. And the thing I'm really enjoying is reading the comments, is I've seen several people, and actually some people came up to my booth and said that this has made me interested. I want to play. I never thought it'd be something I'd be interested in, and now I want to play.
Yeah, you kind of have if you're onboarding somebody to D&D for the first time, it's because D&D is awesome and you want to show it and help other people discover it. You're kind of an ambassador for the game and the creativity, and you really should be welcoming. You know, there's no reason to be a dick just because they don't know how to do stuff, or they're too drunk to remember.
Hey, so as an aspiring DM, I was wondering if any of you guys had any resources that you could recommend to us for changing up the rules a little bit, like doing a sci-fi campaign, something that's not traditionally in the player's handbooks.
If you if you can get a hold of the D20 Modern and the D20 Future books that Wizards of the Coast published for 3.5, they already have a lot of the conversions, and you can use that as a stepping point for 4th or 5th ed also, I think. And then also, what was the other thing? So if you want to do a sci-fi thing, I highly recommend looking at the BattleTech rules also.
All right, thank you.
If the game ever got boring, would you say the game was dragging on?
I have a question for you. How long did you wait in line for that?
I have a follow-up question to that. Was it worth it?
Absolutely.
That's the right answer.
All right.
There you go. All right, over here. We got time for like maybe 5 more questions.
Yeah, real fast.
So this is a question for Frank.
Don't literally drop the mic.
Which character do you think is going to die first?
The ferret, for sure.
No!
Next.
Quick question just for, kind of Frank, but everyone. I'm an aspiring DM. I have 2 different campaigns full of brand new players. So do you have any general advice, both as a DM and as a player, for kind of struggling new DM?
Just be patient. And they're probably going to think of things that you've never thought of, or completely avoid going to the places that you want them to go to. So just kind of as much as possible, just try to plan for that and roll with the punches.
And like Frank said, remember, the rules are not in charge, you are. So no matter what, you are always right.
It's true.
So for the veteran players, what is the most ridiculous name you've ever given one of your characters? And for Ryan, what's the most ridiculous name you've given to any character?
You guys go.
Thank you. I think Chocolate Shadow is the most interesting one I've done.
That's pretty good.
When I did a campaign in high school, I was not really creative with names. So I would just take words and scramble them up. So I forget what the exact name was, but in one of our campaigns there was a red dragon that I had just made, his name was like an anagram of Camaro. It was like I saw a Camaro drive by and it was like Amarok or something. And nobody ever picked up on it. It was just like,
why would they?
Right. It was just like ordinary words just jumbled up.
I don't know. All my names are.
Your Reverard, what was it? Like there was
Reverard Wellington.
So the whole point of that was that there's this the guy in charge, whatever his name was, like Everard Ellington, and then he made a character that was like named almost exactly after him, and just like followed him around. And
there you go.
Hi. When you make a character in D&D, there's a bit on the character sheet that says goals. So what are your guys' characters' goals?
I cannot say because I have secret goals.
I can say Bojangles' goals are to become the most famous bard in the world. Yeah. We haven't really gotten into it, but I was adopted, and I come from a family of halfling bards that are very successul. And I'm the adopted son. I have an older sister who we do not get along, and she's very good. And I'm just trying to usurp her at some point, prove myself to my family.
In the upcoming episode, you'll see that even like the gods have started to take an interest in what happens with the party members. So one of them is starting to help Bojangles on his path to becoming the most famous bard ever.
That's a great bit. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, Frank is fucking.
We're like almost at time. We gotta do like 1 or 2 more.
All right, one over here. Thank you. Right there.
For the Bard Master class types, do you prefer the Jack of all trades that can fill any hole in the party, or do you prefer the Bluffomancer that can be the face of the group?
I prefer the jackass that gets nothing done. Jack of all trades.
That's both of them.
All right, mine's for Ryan. And how long did it take you to like really get into D&D and like learn the ropes and everything?
Oh, I'm still obviously learning the ropes. The getting into it process, the main heavy lifting with that was just doing the character creation process. The writing of the backstory, I think I did that in a couple minutes. But yeah, no, I'm still learning. We'll see. I'll have a better answer maybe next year.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.